Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Okay, may I please
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, I need to make a statement, please,
Yes.
first, and then a question.
Yes.
Okay, first, a statement. We envy you.
Why?
Because you have all the right answers, and
No, I
you
don't. No, I
kind of
don't.
figured it
No,
out
I don't.
already.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Especially not if you envy me.
I was just kidding.
All right. But understand, we only know what we need to know when we need to know it.
I understand that.
All right.
Yes. Well, I think you're a great spokesperson for your civilization.
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah, considering that I believe it has been a lot of bad rep because of the government involvement with some of your species, probably.
What do you want me to say to that?
Okay. Let me continue. As a hybrid that you are, we understand that Earth in the future will be...
The sixth hybrid race.
Correct.
Well, thank you. Glad I got that one right. Because I think there would have been a test.
Okay. So...
Yes. And by the way, relatively soon, you're going to be shown, either through what is called the documentary or in a variety of other ways, the idea of the larger form of the contact crystal that we have talked about before that exists on our world and on our ships. And I can tell you now, as a little bit of what might be called a sneak preview,
Okay.
that there are, in the center of that formation, 7 hexagonal crystals. In the center of that formation, those 7 hexagonal crystals represent 7 hybrid races, of which we are one, of which you are becoming one, and the 7th will be the combination of the 6 eventually.
Okay.
So now you know what the 7 central crystals in that formation represent.
Okay.
Do
Sounds
continue.
good. Okay. Back to the where we are becoming. Okay.
Yes.
We're becoming now. So we have a lot of respect for you, the way you present yourself, and we trust your beingness. Okay.
All right, but we don't really need you to trust us. We need you to trust yourself.
Okay. So, but because we trust you, I think you're setting the ground for the future where we're going. So,
Yes.
so it's good. But now when some of us really welcome the idea that the hybrid kids will be coming,
Yes.
yet I think that is like we hesitate to lose the uniqueness of a human being.
What on earth, pun intended, makes you think you're going to lose uniqueness?
Exactly. I think it's just an illusion. I know we're not going to lose it because everything is happening at the same time, but I still sense it around that when we speak about the hybrid kids,
Yes.
there is like a little fear. There is
About
something
what?
still that
About what?
embracing this new race.
Well, that's all right. The idea is to understand what the belief systems are that are generating that, investigate that, and transform it if you prefer to. But you will not lose uniqueness. Even though my entire society of several 100 million individuals is telepathically connected, and we have very similar kinds of directions of energy, we are all still unique. We have not lost uniqueness at all. And in fact, as we have said many times, true harmony is the product of the validation of all the unique differences in the individuals. Okay. It's not a homogenization, it's a validation of the differences that creates true harmony. It's because then the differences become compatible.
Okay, so what you're saying is that we have to be compatible in the frequency, so for the kids to show up, let's say.
Yes.
Okay, so we're working on it. Everybody's
Yes, I know.
here today.
I know.
So we're doing pretty good.
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you weren't, it's all likely we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we?
Yes, I know some of us are happy to hear that.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Was that your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Namaste.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
And to you, good day. This is an honor. I want to thank you for all you've offered everybody, and
All right.
me in particular, all the information.
It is our honor as well.
Thank you. My question
Yes.
is about, I hope I make sense, about transcend.
You don't have to make sense.
Okay, you
I
may-
might still understand you.
It's about the transcendence procedure, I guess. The last year, personally, I've changed incredibly.
Congratulations.
Thank you a lot.
You're actually changing all the time. What you're actually saying is you've become aware of the fact that you're changing all the time.
Yes, and
All right.
I have a lot more communication with my spirit guides.
All right.
And lately, even you, which has shocked me.
Well, in a sense, our vibration is always being radiated out for different individuals to pick up on in a variety of ways, but sometimes you will simply tap into our particular domain or frequency realm, and you may sometimes even tap into other individuals in my society, which you may think is actually me, but doesn't necessarily have to be me. It's just that you are getting a familiarity with our vibration, and you may think it's the same individual just because of the familiar vibration.
Okay.
But of course, what you're actually tapping into is your own higher mind.
My own higher mind.
Yes. Remember, you're talking to your own higher mind right now. It's just that we are happy to function as a mask, as a filter, in a sense, as a flavor for you to let it be all right to talk to your own higher mind through us. But you're actually speaking with your own higher mind right now.
Yes, I actually had that experience last night. I realized I was talking to my higher self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Well, you still are.
Okay, the problem that I'm
Problem?
here to ask you about.
You mean a challenge?
Oh, yeah, a big challenge is.
All right, big challenge, but a big challenge doesn't mean it has to be defined as a problem. That's what we're saying.
Well, it's a struggle.
That's all right, it doesn't have to be.
I wish I could choose it not to be, but
You can choose it not to be.
it's easier said than done.
That's a belief.
Okay, can I just ask my question?
Yes, you can.
I'm just curious if you could remember back to when your people, your species went through this change that we're going through, how you lived your life at the same time. I'm finding a lot of pain involved in letting go of old concepts.
The only reason you would have pain in letting go of old concepts is you don't believe that you need to let them go. You believe they're serving you still. Remember, you hold on to nothing that you don't actually believe is somehow serving you. No matter how painful they may be to hold on to, what you're actually saying is the alternative is worse.
How do I get to the bottom of how it's serving me?
Very good question. And here's how you can do it, at least one way. The idea is to understand what we have called the motivational mechanism. Again, please understand, this is automatic for everyone. There is absolutely nothing you really need to do to make this work. It's already working. You just have to allow yourself to understand how it works so that you can use it in a way that you prefer to, instead of using the mechanism in a way that you don't prefer. You follow me so far?
Yes.
All right. The motivational mechanism is simply this. And I mean there are no exceptions to this. Not even you. You follow me?
Yes.
All right. You will always, immediately, automatically move in the direction of what you believe to be in your best interest. You will always immediately and automatically move away from what you believe is not in your best interest. Knowing that should tell you something. If you are holding on to something that you know intellectually is not in your best interests, and you understand the motivational mechanism I just described, the only way that could stick around is if you have defined it in the motivational mechanism as actually being in your best interest more than the alternative. Or vice versa, you have defined the thing that you say you prefer as actually somehow being more scary, more fearful than the thing you don't prefer. And so you're so afraid of the thing you do prefer for some reason, based on some belief you're holding on to, that you're willing to put up with the pain and struggle of the thing you don't prefer just because it's more familiar, just because it feels safer, because you're so much more scared of the thing you don't know about.
And
Does this make some sense?
Oh yeah, I've heard this many
All right.
times from you, but how
But
do
it's
I,
not sinking in.
I can't figure it out. How do I move forward? I want to move forward so bad.
Well, you have to find out what it is you're holding on to. How you've heard us give the example of the idea of how people on your planet are raised with different definitions of money.
Yes.
Can you apply that idea to yourself at all about the contradictory beliefs that you are raised with that create conflict within you until such time as you actually consciously identify those beliefs? Because only by consciously identifying them can you let them go. If you don't know what they are, you have nothing to work with.
I know what my beliefs are. I guess I feel like I'm swimming upstream. Like
I don't care what you feel like.
Like my ego's
I
like-
understand what you feel like. But again, remember, the feeling only comes because you believe something to be true. You can't have a feeling without believing something to be true first. So if you have a feeling you're swimming upstream, you have got to be defining something in your life in that way. You yourself said it a moment ago. Easier said than done. These are just belief systems. They're not empirical truths. There is absolutely nothing about the phrase easier said than done that is an absolute law of creation. It's you that is giving it solidity by believing in that idea. You're the one giving it form. You're the one giving it shape for some reason. Find out what the reason is why you are buying into those kinds of limiting ideas that produce struggle, strife, pain. Remember, pain is resistance to the natural self. So what is it about being your true natural self? What is it about the thing you prefer to be that is so much scarier than what you're already holding on to that you don't prefer? What would be the worst, most terrifying thing you can imagine would happen if you actually let go of all of these fears and negative definitions and actually allowed yourself to be who you preferred to be? What would be the scariest thing that you imagine might happen if you did that?
Yeah, I wouldn't know who I am anymore. Because
Now, all right, very good.
Yeah.
Now, why would you assume that to be true?
I define myself from my experiences and all the people around me. And if I move on to a whole different belief system,
Yes.
I'll kind of be out there by myself.
Well, may I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Haven't you ever moved from one belief system to another ever in your life?
Yes.
Well, was that a problem for you?
Well, it was, but when I got there, I was okay.
So what makes you think it's not going to be okay again? How many examples of doing that do you need before you get the point that it's always okay?
Okay.
How many times do you have to give yourself that symbol, that reflection, before you know it will actually always be okay? How many times? It's up to you. I'm not pushing you. How many times have you already done it?
Innumerable, and it's been very painful. So maybe I'm getting from you, if I just kind of let go with it, the pain will kind of go away too.
It will not kind of go away.
It will.
It won't
go.
exist in the reality of the person that you actually prefer to be, because by definition, that person doesn't experience pain and struggle and
Okay.
resistance.
Okay.
You see, you have to watch your definitions. You have a definition that says, if I become who I prefer to be, there's something about that that's going to be painful. But if you actually listen to what you just said, you would realize that that's nonsensical. How could becoming who you prefer to be contain a definition of being something that is not what you prefer?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Your definitions are muddled. That's where you're having the difficulty. You're not listening to the definitions you're actually using to define who it is you prefer. You're creating your own contradictory definitions about who that person is. If that really is the you prefer to be, it cannot, by definition, contain the elements of negativity that you're describing. Otherwise, it can't be that you. It wouldn't be that you. It would make no sense. So what you're defining is someone that isn't who you prefer to be. But when you define clearly who it is you do prefer to be, and you allow yourself to be that person, it will not contain anything that is irrelevant for that particular person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
But
I guess I'm living in a duality. You know,
you're living in a trinity, but we won't go into that now.
When I meditate and I'm all into doing the things that give me the most joy, everything is
Yes.
wonderful, and then I have to come back to real life.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
defining real life as negative.
And I can't, I don't want to live in that other world emotionally
Then
anymore.
don't.
Okay, how?
Again, when you say real life,
Which means going to work and all that.
so
business,
what?
yeah.
Does that just mean that you're not doing what you love to do?
No, I like it, but it's so different. It has a different feel to it, you know?
Then you're not doing what you love to do.
I mean, I'm really happy that I go to work. I'm like, I like my job, but I just feel
Do
so
you
unhappy.
do what you love to do or not? Yes
I know you've
or
had
no?
this conversation a lot. Okay, I used to really love it then. Okay.
Is there something else you would rather be doing?
I'd like to be retired, yeah, and pursue this kind of life all the time where I'm just happy.
Well, why not do that?
That's the hard part, I guess. Okay.
Why are you saying that's hard? You're the one making it harder.
Yeah, you're right.
There is nothing empirically true that what it is you prefer to do has to be hard in the way that you mean it. Yes, of course, there will always be some challenge. Yes, of course, you might have to actually take some actions and do things. But if it's truly a labor of love, it won't feel like a labor. It will be a joy.
Okay. But
Are you picking up on this?
very much so, and I just got. Do you understand?
When
how,
you say very much so,
So?
unless you actually exhibit the behavior that goes along with it, it's not very much so. Remember, action and knowing are synonymous. So if you're not actually acting like it, you don't know it yet. Do you have a small object, coin, pen, anything at all that you can put in your hand, piece of jewelry?
Yes, I have one now.
Put it on the floor. Did you do it?
Yes.
Pick it up. Did you do it?
Yes.
Action and knowing are synonymous. What you know you can do, you just do. You don't think about it. You didn't go, I believe I can pick it up. I think I can pick it up. I'm not sure. Might be hard to bend over and pick that up. Not necessarily as easy as it sounds, perhaps. Oh, let me think about all the different things that could happen between here and picking it up. You didn't do any of that. You just picked it up because you innately knew in every fiber of your being that you could. Action and knowing are synonymous. So when you say, oh, yes, I get it, but you're not doing it, you don't get it. You don't know it yet. So when you act like you know it, you will know it. And when you know it, you will act like you know it. Is this making some sense?
Perfect. I totally understand it. Can I just
Do
say
you?
one more thing? I do, but moving away from all the people I work with, my family, all
So
my
what?
friends.
So what? So what? So what?
And was that easy for you to do when you had to do it?
I never had to do it.
But your kind went through this progression, right?
Not as much as your society, no.
Ah, okay.
But we understand the concept and have incarnations in realities, such as yours, that do go through those things, which is what gives us the understanding of those concepts. Otherwise, it would be too alien to us.
Because
Nevertheless, the idea is that when we allow ourselves to know that everything is neutral and doesn't have built-in meaning, and we supply the meaning that we prefer, we always get the effect that we prefer regardless of what's going on around us. So when we know that the things and opportunities that are presented to us in our lives are always there, always, without exception there, for us to put a positive meaning into them and get a positive effect out of, because that's our choice, then we know that that's all we will experience. And therefore, what hesitation would we ever have to move forward when we know that everything we will ever do, no matter how challenging, will always only be experienced in a positive and joyful way, because that's our choice.
And even this day, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to come here, and I woke up and I said, I have to go see Bashar because I'm going to get called. I'm going to get this opportunity. And
Well,
I
there
did.
you go.
And it was like I wasn't even surprised, but no one who I know would understand that way of thinking. And I
Do
see
you
them
understand this way of thinking?
Do I know it?
Now you can't say that anymore.
I see everyone suffering around me, and I can't help them.
So what?
Just let them.
You understand this very importantly. By staying in your fear, you're not helping them. By moving into your joy is the only way you can help them, because you're giving them an example to let them know they could choose to live in their joy too. But if you don't live in your joy, you never give them the chance to see that it can be done.
Thank you. That really helps me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could enhance what I'm doing in my career, in my mission on this planet?
Nope.
Okay.
Just kidding. You are familiar with the formula of acting on your highest excitement?
No.
All right, I'll give you the whole formula. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, paying attention?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Listening?
Yes.
All right. Carefully?
Yes.
All right. Every moment of your life that you can, any opportunity that presents itself out of every option you have, at every moment, whatever you are capable of acting on, at any moment, no matter what it is, pick the option that contains the highest amount of excitement, no matter what it is. Act on it to the best of your ability until you can act on it no further. When you can act on it no further, look around, see what other options are now open to you, no matter what they are. Pick the one that contains the highest excitement, no matter how it looks, even if it seems utterly unconnected on the surface to the last exciting thing you did. The excitement in it tells you it's connected. So act on that to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, and you keep doing that every moment that you can to the best of your ability. And here's the most important part of the formula. You act on your highest excitement every moment that you can with absolutely zero, and I mean zero, insistence, assumption, or expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. Zero. And if you just keep doing that, and that alone, then the synchronicity in your life will lead you from circumstance to circumstance. You will always be exactly where you need to be when you need to be there. Your life will become an ecstatic explosion of synchronicity, and you will always expand and expand and expand into more joy, and more opportunities will present themselves to you for more joy, and you will have more and more inspirations to create more joy. That formula is all you need to live your life as fully as you can, because the only mission you actually have, all of you, it's the same mission. Same mission is to live your life as the unique you are, as fully as you can. And the easiest way to do that is to act on your highest passion and excitement, because excitement, passion, that sensation, is your body translation of the vibrational energy of your true core self. And when you do that, you're in alignment with your true self as best as you can be. And being the best you can be is the fulfillment of your mission. The way you go about it is your expression of the mission. And that can be very different from everyone else's. The way you go about it is by acting on your highest excitement, because the way you act on your excitement and the things that excite you will never be exactly the same as the things that excite anyone else. So there's the difference in your mission expression, but you all have the same mission: to be yourself in this life as fully as you can, and act on your joy with no assumption or expectation as to what the outcomes should be is the easiest way to do that. And that's it. Is that too simple?
No. I think I've been moving into that space, but I hadn't brought it as clearly to a conscious level as what you're expressing.
All right. Can you now do so?
Yes.
Then apply it in your life, and you will see through the things that then occur. If you have zero expectation as to what you think should occur, you will see that everything that occurs, if you give it positive meaning, because it's fundamentally neutral, doesn't have any built-in meaning, you give it positive meaning. Without you and the meaning you give to life, life has no meaning. So when you give it the meaning, that's the effect you'll get out of it, because life is completely neutral and will bend to the meaning you give it. So if you always give everything that happens a positive meaning for you, regardless of what anyone else is thinking or intending or going through around you. If you give your part of that experience a positive meaning, you will get a positive effect, you will stay in a positive vibration, and you give them the best opportunity to see that positive reflection from you so that they could choose that too. At the same time, you have to be unconditionally loving and allowing enough to allow them to choose whatever they choose, regardless of whether it matches your positive vibration or not. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Because if you're not unconditionally allowing someone to choose even the negative, if you can't allow them to choose what at that moment they believe is the best thing they can choose, why should you be allowed to choose anything? Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Does this help you?
Yes, thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
All right.
Hi, Bashar.
Annie, good day.
I have a question about the shifting from parallel universe
Reality to parallel reality, billions of times per second, yes.
Yes. My question is, so when I shift from one into another,
Yes.
the one that I shifted from,
Still exists,
does it have another streaming, individuated consciousness in it?
yes.
Oh, and when I'm shifting into a one, am I merging with another consciousness that was streaming in that one?
You're not merging with it, you are it.
Okay.
I know that sounds confusing, but nevertheless, everything is conscious, everything. And the idea of you shifting from parallel reality to parallel reality doesn't mean that you're kicking the last tenant out. It doesn't mean you're merging with them. It just means you've always been there, but now you're looking through those eyes.
Oh.
See the difference?
I've always been there.
But now you are looking through those eyes instead of the eyes you were looking through a moment before. Because your eyes are everywhere.
That's what I was going to say. So that means...
You're all that is. That's what that means. All of you are all that is. The more you allow yourself to expand, you don't lose your identity. You become everything. You recognize you're everything already. You become aware that you're everything already. You understand?
Yeah.
Does that help?
That's great. Yeah.
We think so.
I have another kind of comment question.
All right.
Couple of days before coming here, I kept seeing license plates that said Council, Council. Now I know Council
All
of
right.
the Nine.
So you're setting up your own synchronicity.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything that any of the Council of Nine, any message for me?
Well, the first message always is, are you living your passion? Yes or no? Hesitation usually means no. At least not fully.
Yeah, I guess not fully, because
You
I
guess?
am. Yeah, it's
All right.
true.
And so what area of your life are you not willing to live your passion in? And why?
I guess it's not that clear to myself.
But you said you knew that it wasn't fully. So you must have some inkling. Take a guess.
Yeah, I'm not in a relationship.
So,
In a
what has that
romantic
got to do with your
relationship.
passion? What has that got to do with your passion?
I am doing quite a bit for what it is that I'm really passionate about.
Quite a bit.
Like,
Meaning
I
not
ca-
every moment that you can.
Yeah, I could be doing more.
And you're holding back because it's all right if you are. We're just looking for your reasons as to why you think holding back serves you.
I guess maybe I just feel
You
that
keep
I'm
guessing a lot.
Yeah.
Is there anything you know about yourself?
Yes, I feel that I'm waiting for better timing, I guess.
Waiting for timing? That's an oxymoron. Timing is timing. You don't wait for it, it just happens at perfect timing.
Well, when it does, I do take a moment and I write or I, sing.
You do understand that perfect timing actually happens all the time, right?
Yes.
So when you say when it does, that's every moment. When you treat every moment as if what is happening in that moment is what needs to happen in that moment in perfect timing, you will begin to experience every moment in its perfectly timed essence.
I'm experiencing more of that. I've been
More of
experiencing
that,
more
yes,
of that.
more of that. All we are saying is obviously you're expressing a desire to experience even more.
Yes.
So we are asking you, in what way do you believe, do you imagine you could? And don't guess.
In every way, I've actually been experiencing a lot more synchronicity in my
All
life
right,
in every way.
All right. Then there's nothing lacking, correct?
No.
All right. Then what's your question?
I do have another question. Is I've been having recurring injuries in my ankles,
Yes.
and I'm wondering. I've been having a really tough time understanding what might be going on. I mean, at different times, I thought that the injury was for a different reason, and it made sense to me that it would be for that reason.
Such
like
as?
working way too hard and
All
needing
right.
to take time to rest.
And did you?
Yes.
All right. Do you have issues of self-support?
Yes.
There you go. There's your ankles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May
So
I-
that's something that you can be working on to integrate into your excitement, yes? Because if you have issues of self-support, you are saying that's an area of your life where you're not really living your passion, correct? Yes? No?
Yes,
Maybe?
Maybe, yes, yeah, probably, yes. Can you repeat that, please?
If you just said you are having issues of self-support, does that not mean that that's a belief system that needs to be brought into alignment with what you prefer?
Yes.
So that's what you can be working on to accelerate your idea of experiencing more passion, is finding out what beliefs you're holding on to that allow you to experience issues of lack of self-support.
Thank you. That's what I needed. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. We are always here to support you in supporting yourself.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day to you, too. It's like family.
It is not like family.
It is family.
It is family.
Thank you for everything that you brought to me. I know that.
And thank you for everything you brought to yourself. And we thank you all for everything that you bring to us.
In that exchange of ambassadorship, I've focused a lot in channeling.
Oh, all right.
And I have some questions about the octagon when you're talking about the contraction octagon.
Contraction?
The octagon.
Are you talking about the spiral?
Yeah, the spiral where you have the no choice and then survival.
All right.
In the middle.
Yes.
With the two arrows.
Yes.
Can you explain the other in the middle? Because I haven't been able to identify that. What that in the middle is that's where to put all of your
It's
pain,
where you
all
reinvent yourself. It's the crucible that
Okay.
breaks you down and allows you to melt and let go of all your former assumptions and definitions of yourself so that you can recrystallize as someone new in the way
Excellent.
that you prefer to define yourself.
So
Yes.
seems that's the next step with what I do with hypnosis to assist people to achieve
All
the best
right.
that they are.
All right.
So that's where they can basically put all of their baggage.
Well, it's where they need to look at their baggage and where they need to let go of their baggage, but then they realize that the baggage doesn't belong to them anyway if it's something that they actually need to let go of, and it never was theirs. So it's not about putting the baggage there, it's about a place where they can let go of the baggage that doesn't belong to them.
And then redefine, or I define what their passion is and what their joy is.
If they wish to do it in that order, yes. Usually, though, when you have defined your passion, then you recognize what doesn't belong to you. And therefore, it's easier to drop it because it's nonsensical for you to hold on to something that's not yours.
Back to the belief system.
Of course, always.
Well, thank
Always.
you. Thank you, and for all of your kind from the Sasani and Savai to you.
Shivai.
Shivai, sorry. That what you've brought to me as far as bringing everything that I am to my
right.
highest joy and to be here.
Ha too.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything for me that I can do in the next steps?
You
that I
can
know where
follow
I am?
your imagination because your imagination is your best guide. Do you trust it?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Then you don't need to ask us. Yes? Remember, this is about self-empowerment. Yes? You have all the answers. You have all the power. You have all the choice. Choose. That's your power.
The ambassadorship. There you go.
Choose.
I
All
definitely
right?
choose. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
Annie, you good day.
I have two questions. One of the questions is, I just started a brand new career, and I'm finding myself not to feel the way I thought I would feel before.
How did you
getting
think you would feel?
super excited, and it's just so different. It's
Yes, well, congratulations on creating an unexpected path. You don't want it to be boring, right?
no.
Well, then unexpectedness is to be expected if you want a life of joy and a life of true challenge and a life of discovering what about yourself you don't already know.
So
Yes.
yeah.
And in doing that, it gives you more information and experience to write about. Yes?
Yes.
Well, then isn't that part of the process?
Yes.
So what is not exciting about that?
I just thought that maybe because I didn't feel the way I thought I would feel, I was like in the wrong career.
I
So-
see. Well, it's always up to you to have the discernment to stand back and go, all right, maybe this isn't my path of preference. But also you have to have the discernment to make sure that you're not coloring it to make it seem unexciting when it could be. It may be an opportunity for you to examine that you may have a belief that's coloring things. If you determine that you don't, and you recognize that it really isn't your path, that's all right too. Sometimes the things that excite you just excite you to pull you in a certain direction because that's the direction you need to go in. It doesn't mean that thing has to come to fruition. That's why we say you have zero expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. But it's also important to pay attention as to whether or not it truly isn't the path or whether you're just coloring it with your fear. Make sense?
Yes.
So, which is it, do you think?
Fear. I know it's fear.
Fear of what? Not good enough?
No, it's
Fear
not
of
that.
what?
Of getting hurt out on the field.
Getting hurt.
Yes.
In what way?
Physically, getting, I don't know, just afraid of
What was the career that you said you had chosen?
being a police officer.
All right. Why? Why?
Why I chose it?
Yes, why?
To help people. I wanted to help people. And
All right. Well, you knew going in that there might be physical danger, yes?
yes, sir, I did.
What's different then?
I just thought that I would feel the way I thought before,
Which was what?
like excitement and everything.
But why don't you feel the excitement? You knew there was danger to begin with, and yet you were excited.
Yes.
So why aren't you excited now?
Just because I thought maybe I was in the wrong career due to the fact that I didn't feel that excitement. I don't know if that makes sense or.
Is there something else you would rather do?
At the moment, no.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you afraid to become excited about something else because when you start doing that, you'll lose the excitement there too? Because it will be different than you thought? Have you done this before?
Have done what?
Have you gone towards something you thought was exciting only to find that when you did it, it wasn't as exciting as you thought?
Yes.
How many times?
I don't know. Maybe once. I don't know. I really don't know. Once for sure.
Aside from the one you're talking about now?
Yes, sir.
Which was what?
Nursing.
So you thought that would be exciting
And it was.
until...
I got bored going to the same place and just doing the same thing over and over.
Why did you allow it to become boring? Remember, there are no boring situations, just bored minds.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Why did I allow it to be? Because I wanted to try something different,
All right.
which was this.
So you are an exploratory path of learning what it is you really are excited about, yes?
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that, you know. Is there some reason why you have to settle on something? Decide on something?
No.
So, is it all right that you may go into something and then discover that it really isn't your excitement? Is that all right?
Yes.
All right. So, you may keep doing that then. What's the next thing you're excited about? If you left what you are doing now, what would be the next thing you think you might be excited about?
I haven't thought that. Well, maybe.
Yes, you have.
Traveling.
Traveling in what way? What's exciting for you about traveling?
Discovering new places.
So
new
if you go to a
cultures.
new place, will the excitement go away?
Maybe eventually, I think,
Why?
because that's a pattern I've been showing these past couple of years.
Yes, all right. Well, so why do you have that pattern?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I really don't. I don't know. I'm lost in it.
You are lost. All right, that's why. You just answered it. You feel lost. Why do you feel lost?
Because I want to know if this is the right,
The right?
the right, like, path I should be taking right now.
What if it's not? What if you never find it? What will happen then to you? Will you crumble to dust? Will you have failed miserably in your existence if you never find the path, the thing? What will happen to you? Please let us know. We are so very concerned about you now. We are so very curious to know how this story ends if you never find the thing, the one thing, your particular path. Oh, so dire. What will happen?
Life goes on.
Yes. You will always be able to find something. You will always be able to determine that something excites you. There may not be any one thing. What if your excitement is a number of things under an exciting umbrella that expresses itself in a number of different ways? What if there is a connective theme to all the things that you're doing? I want to help people. Nurse, policeman, you understand? Policewoman in your language. You said you like to help people. Why?
It brings a lot of happiness.
It brings who a lot of happiness?
Me. Brings
Why?
me. To know that I'm helping other people just
All right.
helps me.
And so, is the traveling connected to the idea of helping other people as well? Is that why the traveling excites you too?
No,
Or is there some other reason?
I'm just excited to discover new things. So, like, new places, new cultures, new languages, new food.
So what you are saying is, you are a wanderer. And therefore, you're not really excited and not really happy unless you're actually always doing something different. And that what you are calling a pattern may actually be who you are. Would that be all right?
I don't know. It sounds kind of like a bad thing.
Why does it sound like a bad thing?
Well, because I know most people like just choose one thing and they are
Who
happy
cares
doing
what
it.
most people do? You're not most people. Why isn't it all right to be who you actually are? To be a wanderer, to explore many different things, to be an explorer, to always be looking to discover something new. Why is that not a life, an exciting life? There are people on your planet that do that, you know.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Well, can't you be one of them if that's what you really prefer?
Yes, I can.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Then isn't that exciting?
very actually.
That you will always be doing something new?
Yes.
When you accept that that may be who you are, you will figure out a way to make that work for you. You understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
And then you'll be able to gather all the different experiences that you have and help people along the way because of the vast scope of the knowledge that you collect along the way doing all these different things. You are just perhaps a Jill of all trades.
Great. My second question is, I have an injury that I always worry about.
What is the injury?
I tore my ACL.
Yes, well, why not seek people who can assist you with this?
I did.
And
It healed itself, I guess.
then what are you worried about?
That it's. I
Have
need-
you seen what exists on your planet called the no worry chart? Have you seen that?
No, sir, I have not.
Oh, sir. Oh, so formal. All right, madam. Basically, the idea is, if you have a situation, is there something you can do about it, yes or no? If there is something you can do about it, then don't worry. If there is nothing you can do about it, don't worry. You understand?
Yes, I do.
So if you're in a state where right now it is what it is, and you don't need to focus on it, you don't need to worry about it, why worry? Yes?
Yes.
All right.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you for being here. So I was sitting over here trying to formulate my question, and
all
it's
right.
on delegation.
Delegation, yes.
So I'm in charge of people at my job,
All right.
and in my personal life, I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish,
You want to accomplish. All right.
and I love all the things that life has to offer.
All
There's so
right.
many different things that
Yes.
I actually want to participate in
All right.
accomplishing.
All right. You understand the concept that excitement is an organizing principle, yes?
An organizing principle.
In other words, when we talk about the idea of acting on your highest excitement, the one that excites you the most first, you will find that when you have taken that as far as you can, and you discover what the next thing is that contains the highest excitement at that moment, you'll find out that excitement actually functions not only as a driving engine and a complete kit, but it functions as the organizing principle in your life. So in other words, when you act on the thing that excites you the most first, and then the next thing that excites you the most, and the next, when you have exhausted them in order, whatever you don't have time to do at the end of the day, you don't need to do. Because excitement has given them to you in the order in which they actually need to be done to perpetuate your excitement. So at the end of the day or at the end of your life, whatever hasn't been done didn't need to be done.
So it didn't need to be done, but I'm thinking that I have a feeling that I lost out on the opportunity to actually do it.
And if you have a feeling, then that means you have a belief that you did. But if you understand the idea of making appointments with things, like you say, there are things I really wish to do, you are making an appointment, in a sense, energetically, to do a certain thing, then a real appointment, an appointment that really is reflective of what energy, what experience will benefit your highest excitement, your true self, those appointments will always be met. They will always be kept in perfect timing. And you don't have to worry or wonder about whether or not you will get an opportunity to act on those things. The things you don't get the opportunity to act on when you're in that state don't need to be acted on by you in the way that you thought. The idea also, however, is to understand that when you make those appointments, they cannot be missed, with one exception. When you spend time wondering and worrying whether or not you will make the appointment, that's when you will miss the appointment. Because you're spending your energy wondering if you will make the appointment. But if you stop wondering whether or not you will do the things that you really need to do, then you will do the things you really need to do. Life will arrange itself so that you can. Synchronicity will arrange itself so that you can. So let excitement organize your life so that you will understand in what order those things actually serve you best and in what order you don't need to do them. Yes? Life works when you allow it to. You don't have to make it work. Just let it work. It's already structured for you. You just need to go with the flow of that vibration of excitement to let it show you how you need to act on things and in what order and when. That's how it works. It really does. It really does. Not making it up. It really does work that way. And if you allow yourself to experience that, you will get the proof. You will get the results. You will see that it actually synchronistically does work that way. And then you'll start to relax a little bit. And you will let your life unfold in a natural way, acting on the things that are presented to you first that contain the highest excitement, and witnessing how all the others arrange themselves in a line behind that. Perfect orchestration.
So I understand that that works. I mean, you spelled it out very clearly.
All
there.
right.
So I understand that.
Yet.
And yet I feel that there's things that I know I should delegate over, and there's times that I resist delegating
Because?
because some of those things I actually want to do.
Well, then,
And yet it would help my life run smoother
Yes.
if I was to just delegate.
may I ask you a perspective question?
Yes.
What makes you think you're not doing them by delegating? You're the one delegating, so you're still doing it. Let me put it to you another way. Let us say that there is a screw that you would like to screw into a piece of wood. Yes?
Yes.
Well, your insistence on doing it yourself would mean that you would grab the screw with your fingers and twist it and twist it and twist it until you drive it into the wood. Or you could delegate the job to a drill. You're still doing it. The person that you delegate things to is still working with you. You are still working with them. They are part of the equation of your doing something with a helping hand, like a tool. Doesn't mean you're not doing it. Change your definition of what it means to delegate, and you will understand that you're not missing out on anything. And then the things that you truly need to do by yourself will again arrange themselves to show you which ones you can do alone and which ones you can still do with assistance, because you're still doing them. Because if you didn't delegate, it wouldn't get done, so you're still the initiator. You're still doing it. I understand the difference in what you mean by wanting certain experiences yourself, but it's only your definition of delegation that's getting in your way of actually having all the experiences you need to have by yourself and the ones that you don't need to have by yourself, but which you are still doing because you're the initiator. Okay. Does this help?
Absolutely. That analogy definitely helped.
All right.
So if
Yes.
I was to be better at doing that,
Yes.
then there's other experiences that I would like to have.
Well, you will, again, based on what we just said.
And so an example that I would have is,
Yes.
because I feel I have a lot of things that need to get accomplished.
Why? Again, let synchronicity and let excitement order and organize your life about the things you actually need to accomplish. You may not need to do as many things as you think.
Okay.
And when you allow your life to flow more readily, things will actually accelerate, and you may actually get more done than you think you're capable of in the same amount of time, because space and time are becoming more malleable and flexible. You may not need as much time as you think to do the things you wish to do. So let space and time fit the things you need to do rather than you trying to stuff everything into a particular box of space and time. Let space and time stretch or shrink as it needs to accommodate what you really need to do, because it will, and it always does. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. Thank
Does that
you.
help?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shh.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. So I have two questions.
Speak up, speak up.
I have two questions. One is about connecting with my higher being.
Yes.
I feel like when I'm living my life at like random times, there are two.
Living your life at random times?
I'm living my life, and at random times,
all right.
there are two distinct voices trying to guide my actions.
Not
Like-
trying.
Well, one's telling me, hey, do this, and the other's telling me, hey, do that.
Yes.
And I'm having a hard time knowing.
Does one excite you more than the other? Do you have more capability of acting on one more than the other?
You know, sometimes it'll be really simple, like yesterday, hey, sit here, and the other says, hey, sit over there, and it's
And?
not a big deal, but it's bothering me that there are two choices, and why can't one just say sit here, and the other says, yeah, okay, sit there.
So you're asking for more limitation?
No, not limitation, just guidance onto how to
No,
know.
you're asking for more limitation. You're saying, don't give me a choice. Just tell me what to do. That's what you're doing. Don't give me a choice. You want to limit your choices.
I just don't know if I can trust. And sometimes I feel
you don't
I'm
trust
crazy.
yourself. You don't trust yourself.
But it makes me feel crazy, like voices are telling me what to do, and I know it's not.
But voices tell us things all the time.
But you know which one to go with.
And how do I know that?
I don't know how.
Yes, you do. How do I know that?
The one that excites you the most?
It's more than that. You want a hint?
Yes.
Even though you may be engaging with other beings, all the voices come from you. Because you have to create your version of them in order to experience them in your reality. So the reason I know that I can choose what I prefer is because I know that the choices are coming from me. And then I just decide what I prefer.
What if the choice you chose wasn't good, and then you
It's
say, "Oh, I
always
wish I would have
good.
done
It's
that other one."
always good. Watch your definitions. That's what's confusing you. You're labeling these ideas in negative ways, and that's causing the confusion. They're always good. Why would they be other?
Well, after you chose it, you say, "Oh, I wish I would have chosen the other one."
I never say that.
Sometimes I do.
I know, and that's your problem. What you need to say is, thank you for revealing to me that this choice was not my preference. Now I know what my preference is. And so now I will choose the other. You must understand that sometimes people on your planet have an easier time defining what is their preference by first defining more clearly what is not their preference. Therefore, it still works to your advantage because now you've eliminated something that you know has nothing to do with you. And that has taken you further. And that, therefore, made it a good choice. It's similar to the idea of many of your scientific investigations. They may go down this path and that path and this path and that path, always coming to a dead end based on what they are searching for. But they always celebrate that because now they know they have discovered something that, based on what they're searching for, does not work. And they can share that information with others. Hey, don't waste your time going down that path. It doesn't work. Oh, thank you very much. You've saved me a lot of valuable time. Now you've been of service by discovering something that may not work and sharing that information. Of course, other people may have other things that they get out of it, but nevertheless, it's never a bad choice unless you label it as such. And when you label it as such, it will always be experienced as a bad choice. You understand?
Yes.
And then you'll be sitting there wishing and hoping you had done something else instead of using the experience you created for the purpose that you created it, which means you're invalidating what you chose, which means you don't trust yourself.
So they're not distinct non-physical beings.
There may be non-physical beings that are also communicating with you, but again, it doesn't matter. Because the only way you could perceive them is by creating your version of them in your reality out of your own energy. Therefore, there must be a reason why you're doing that. Maybe it's giving you an opportunity to learn how to communicate with other beings in a way that makes sense for you. Maybe it's giving you an opportunity to get more in touch with other aspects of your own consciousness in a way that makes more sense for you. But the only way you're going to find out what it is actually doing for you is to assume that this process that you're going through is serving a positive purpose. Because if you don't assume that, if you don't act like you know it's serving a positive purpose, you will never discover that it's serving a positive purpose. Because you cannot experience something you are not the vibration of first. So if you believe it's negative, the only outcomes, the only assumptions you will ever make, the only thoughts you will ever have about it is that it's negative. You will never have a positive one until you assume that there might actually be a positive reason why it's happening the way it's happening. And when you do, suddenly doorways and inspirations and ideas and perceptions open up that you never thought of before because now you're in a positive state. Because you cannot have a positive thought from a negative state. As we have often quoted your own Albert Einstein, you cannot solve a problem from the same level in which the problem was created. You have to go to another level first, and then you see the answer. Then you see the solution.
So it's all me. There's no
It is
like
you.
negative devil,
Well, it
evil
is you.
spirit or something like
Well,
that.
it may or may not be, but it doesn't matter. You're the ultimate determiner of what you wish to interact with. So interact as you wish, and don't interact as you don't wish.
Okay.
And treat every decision you make as something that will serve you, and then you will be able to extract from that something positive. But you have to label it that way first, or you won't. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does.
Yes.
And that actually goes into my next question, which is about obsessions and obsessive
Yes,
thoughts.
yes.
Like, if I choose, okay, I don't want to think about that, and it comes back.
Yes, well, that's because you're pushing it away. Anything you resist will always bounce back because there's nowhere to push anything away to. There is no outside. There is only you.
What about if the thought is telling me to do something that I don't?
If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Do you not have the ability to say no thank you?
Yes, I do.
Do you not have the ability to say, I don't prefer that, I prefer something else?
Yes, I
Then
do.
so what? If you keep choosing what you prefer over what you don't, no matter how many times it's offered to you, it will eventually fade away because you will have changed your paradigm. You will have changed your vibration. But don't try to resist. Let it in. So what? It's telling you over and over again, do something you don't prefer to do. You don't have to do it. The power is with you. The power to choose. We already told you this is one of the 9 powers. Choose. It doesn't matter what you perceive, because the more you expand your consciousness, the more you will perceive the negative as well as the positive, because the negative and the positive exist throughout all of creation. So expanding your consciousness doesn't mean you become less aware of the negative, it means you become more aware of it. But you also become more capable of choosing what you prefer. Just because you're aware of the negative doesn't mean you need to choose it.
But sometimes I'm afraid that if I say no, that maybe it's not something evil like go here, and maybe that going here would have been better, and I'm afraid maybe I should listen to, maybe I
You
should
keep
do it.
using the idea of comparison, which you have no business doing. That would have been better. This would have been better. Maybe I missed something. You miss nothing unless you spend time worrying that you're missing something. That's the paradox. If you stop worrying that you're missing something, if you stop worrying that something else would have been better, nothing would have been better. Do you understand the paradox? Mm-hmm. Stop spending time focusing on what you think you're missing, and you won't miss a thing.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. I was wondering if you could tell us more about the concept of from one dimension to the next, it being in 90-degree differences.
You are talking about vectors?
Possibly, yes.
All right. What do you wish to understand about this concept?
Why are they 90 degrees?
That is the way you experience it in your particular dimension of reality. It isn't always 90 degrees to someone else in another reality. But because your reality is based on certain geometric forms and ideas and relationships, certain kinds of dimensional shifts will be perceived that way. So it's, in a sense, the way you are overlaying your perceptions on the idea of change based on the filters of your physical reality structure that allows you to perceive it or interpret it as a particular number of degrees.
Okay, all right.
In that way, in other words, 90 is the most, quote unquote, shall we say, opposite it can be while still giving you a choice. Does that make sense in your language?
Yes, yes.
Because, yes, it could be 180 degrees, but that's simply going back on yourself, and then there's no choice. 90 degrees allows you the opportunity to go in a number of different directions and still be as polar opposite from where you were going as you possibly can be, and yet still have choice.
Sure.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you. One more, if you could talk a little bit about Merkabas.
Well, again, these are representational energy ideas of certain geometric patterns of consciousness that exist and express themselves in certain geometric forms in your reality. Of course, they express themselves as geometric forms in other realities as well, But what you're calling the Merkaba is generally representational of the idea of the connection between your physical mind and your higher mind. The idea of what is above is also below. The union and junction of those two energy states to allow you to become a whole person. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Will that do, or is there something else?
I think that'll do.
Oh, all right.
Thank you much.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day to you, too. I have a 3 years old, and I love
A child, you are
yeah,
saying?
my baby.
Male,
Noah,
female.
a boy.
Yes.
Male.
Yes.
And I've been challenged raising him because he has a very
Because you are still
aggressive-
raising yourself?
Exactly.
All right.
I'm learning a lot about
Yes,
myself.
many of you
through
are
him.
children raising children. Yes.
Yeah, and it's being a challenge because
Yes.
I go back and forth.
Between what
wondering
and what?
If I'm doing the right thing, if I'm
Are you doing the best you
disciplined.
can?
Yes,
Do you love the child?
I love him.
What else can you do?
I just want him to be.
What else can you do besides loving your child and doing the best you can? What else can you do?
I guess that's all.
Is that all right?
What was
Do
that?
you think you are failing your child?
Yeah, sometimes I feel
How?
like by not being
An
discipline
adult?
him.
Well, why
Like-
don't you discipline? Why don't you guide?
Because sometimes I wonder if there is the right thing to do to put him in timeout and tell him or let him
Children
be.
must be taught the consequences of choices. As long as you are certain that the idea of the consequence is something that would bring harm to them, then it might be the best way to allow them to understand that there are consequences. But you could also explore with the child at whatever stage, in whatever way you believe you are capable of communicating this. Explore with them, ask them what they think the consequence would be of a particular choice. Let them learn by actually exploring the idea of consequences. Now, you can arrange as the adult, so to speak, you can arrange certain safe environments, interactive environments that create, shall we say, a miniature version, a safer version of the idea that they were attempting to do. To show them on a smaller, safer scale that there will always be a certain kind of consequence to choices and that they can learn what consequences they do and don't prefer on the smaller interactive scale rather than having to experience it on the larger scale, which may damage them irreparably. Do you understand?
I understand.
But you, as the adult, need to be inventive enough to use your imagination to come up with ways of allowing them to experience these things in a safe modality, to teach them the consequences of choices by interactivity, which is the best way to learn, by actually doing something and seeing what happens. But you can reduce the scale in a safe way. So you can use your imagination to create certain scenarios in which they can learn these things, and once they learn them on that level, they will apply them on every other level. Then you will have guided them, quote unquote, disciplined them appropriately. They will discipline themselves once they understand the consequences of choices on a scale that's safe. And then you can teach them how to apply that to larger scales. Yes?
Yes, thank you.
So, do you think you have the imagination to do that?
Yes, I do.
Well, then,
I'm
anything
going to-
else?
I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, thank you. Does that help you?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Nania, are you about to inform us of timing? What is your bit of time? say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. We thank you once again for the co-creation of this interaction and your willingness to interact with our civilization and allow us to experience through each and every one of you individually and all of it together collectively that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation. So we thank you for the gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission, this day of your time, with the idea that we would like to share that we have called Saturn's Day and the Council of Nine. Now, we have the understanding that in your society, many individuals have intuited different aspects of consciousness that are expressed in certain ways relative to your society. One of these aspects being this concept you have called, you have labeled, you have defined as the Council of Nine. But there may be a little bit of confusion, or perhaps even no real deep understanding of what the Council of Nine actually is. There have been many different kinds of ways of labeling them, defining them, and they are, in a sense, many things. We will give you our particular perspective on our interactions with this particular group of beings, and you may make of that what you will and apply it in whatever way, shape, or form seems appropriate and relevant for your own personal lives. So let us begin. Your planet in your system, Saturn, what you have sometimes euphemistically referred to as the Lord of the Rings, is in a sense also understood to be a world of mystery, an energy of mystery. It carries the energy of mystery, of the idea of the investigation of the deep mysteries of creation. Your solar system thus then will have a representational energy reflected by that world, by that body in your system that is connected to what you have in times past called the mystery schools on your planet, the investigation of the deep understanding of the nature and structure of existence, but explored in a very particular way. And in those mystery schools, when expanding the consciousness and exploring the idea of creation from those particular vibrational levels, in those particular frequencies, it occurred, it intuited to many people in those schools the idea that there were consciousnesses, in a sense, associated with the various planets in your system. Now, we do not necessarily mean consciousnesses in the sense that you inhabit your world physically. We mean the idea that every world has an associated group of consciousnesses that may exist in other dimensions, in other realities, in spirit form, in non-physical terminology. Even if it is not expressed physically, there is still consciousness associated with every single world and every single dimension in a variety of expressions. There are many forms of consciousness associated with the idea of the world you call Saturn. But the Council of Nine is a very specific idea. And we would like to explain in more detail how we perceive that idea from our reality now. In our previous transmission, last night of your time, we expressed for the first time a concept that we called the Nine Powers. Let us quickly review. You have the power to perceive. You have the power to choose. You have the power to act. You have the power to experience. You have the power to reflect. You have the power to learn. You have the power to grow. You have the power to transcend. And last but certainly not least, you have the power to forget, which is the idea of starting anew, starting afresh. The Council of Nine specifically represents these nine powers, these nine frequencies, these nine vibrations, but in a very particular way. There are beings, interdimensional beings, such as are the beings on what you call the Council of Nine, that are of a nature, if you can, as you say in your language, wrap your minds around this concept, they are of a nature where they actually spend and explore what you might refer to as lifetimes, but we don't mean physically, actually exploring qualities. There is actually a way in other dimensions to actually explore the quality of perceiving, the quality of choosing, the quality of acting. In other dimensions, these are actual experiences that can be had. They are actually capable of being expressed as dimensions unto themselves. And many other kinds of interdimensional beings can actually spend lifetimes exploring these qualities, experiencing these qualities in a very unique way that would seem incomprehensible to you in physical reality. In a sense, these qualities to these beings actually have a kind of a landscape, actually have a kind of an atmosphere, are actually realms unto themselves that reflect these vibrations, these powers, in very specific ways that can be experienced by these beings because of their nature. But these beings, not really being physical as you would understand it in any way, shape, or form, they're not really a bunch of people sitting around a table. But this can be, in a sense, an analogy. It can be a euphemism. It can be a symbol. But they are not physicalized really that way. In a sense, what they are oversouls. Each oversoul is representative at any given moment of one of the qualities of these 9 powers. And thus, by representing a being, reflecting a being, symbolizing a being, a consciousness, and a collection of consciousnesses that is actually capable of exploring these qualities, they're connected to every realm, every dimension that can express in some way, shape, or form those particular characteristics. Therefore, you are included in that. And of course, these energies will find their particular place, fall into the correct slot, shall we say, in your reality to be reflected to you and represented to you in whatever way is best relevant for your particular system of experience, for your particular reality, in this case, of course, a physical one that lives, inhabits a planet in a solar system. Therefore, the planet that best represents the ability to disperse, to disseminate these vibrations to you, to focus these vibrations for you, to guide you in these vibrations is Saturn. Specifically because of the rings. The rings themselves have certain kinds of frequency vibrations, resonance patterns within them that actually allow for the focusing and the dissemination and radiation of these vibrations, these frequencies of these 9 powers. And in radiating these vibrations specifically, of course it's not the only vibration the planet radiates, but in containing these vibrations within all that it radiates, you pick up on that in your own way, with your own senses and your own intuition, and thus then interpret the idea in this format you have called the Council of 9, being that you recognize that there are 9 oversouls that are involved in this exploration of all of these qualities, all of these powers as we have outlined them. And thus then, when you find yourself, as we discussed last night of your time, through your apprenticeship, through your evolution into adeptness, and into your ascension into alchemy, when you go through those stages in your life, from ice to water to steam, by analogy, so to speak, when you raise your frequency patterns in that sense, energetically, you will thus then use all of these attributes to create the explorations that you have in your physical world. And in investigating any of those energies, any of those powers, in utilizing and expressing any of those powers, you tap directly into the vibration that is connected to those particular 9 oversouls. And thus then, in a sense, a piece of them, so to speak, will always be available to you to guide you in your exploration of each and every one of those particular powers and qualities. So they are like the guide of guides in that sense, an overarching guidance system, an overarching council of guidance for you in your journey in physical reality when you play out the stories of your lives that are based on certain story structures in order to retain information, in order to express information, in order to share information, because story structure is one of the strongest ways to share and retain information. So on your journey, in those stories of your lives, the stories you have created for your experience on earth, you will be going through those stages, those steps, those phases every time and using those powers to perceive, to choose, to act, to experience, to reflect, to learn, to grow, to transcend to a new level, and then to forget. So you can start over with another idea, another direction. And every time you go through those processes that contain those particular patterns, you are connecting to their guidance, their vibration, their energy. Because in their exploration, they know everything there really is to know about those qualities and are constantly radiating at those frequencies. So if you want to be guided at any stage in that endeavor, at any place in that story that is exhibiting one of those qualities, one of those powers, know that you are aligning immediately with the Council of Nine, and whatever representative oversoul member in that council is exploring that quality in an interdimensional realm. They are happy, very joyful to include you on their journey in whatever way, shape, or form it is most relevantly expressed in your particular reality. And in going through your own journey, in your own story, exploring those qualities, using those qualities, you also are feeding them information, experience about your particular way of experiencing that particular 9-part process. And so it adds to their overall journey, their overall experience, even though they may express it in a very different interdimensional way. They definitely include your experiences in what they are doing, because in that sense, they are expressed as an oversoul of your entire solar system. And thus then they are intimately connected with the oversouls on your planet that have split themselves into all the different physical incarnations of the individual people that you all are. As we have said, and of course this figure can vary from time to time, we are only talking about an average, but there are really only about 300,000 oversouls that make up the 7 billion people on your world. Those 300,000 oversouls have split themselves into 7 billion incarnations. And of course, they have other incarnations in what you call the past and the future, but which of course we all now know, don't we, actually all exist simultaneously, if you have been paying attention. Thus then, to them, the Council of Nine, in these qualities that they exhibit in their interdimensional explorations, are not only available to you, they're available to all the incarnations up and down the timeline on your planet in your solar system. And thus then, they are truly an oversoul of oversouls, experiencing a multitude, interacting with a multitude of incarnations, not only in what you call your present, but in what you call your past and your future, which they understand are all happening at the same time. So they are a very reflective and very powerful group of consciousnesses, almost unimaginable in terms of their experience as it relates to your physical reality. There are many concepts that they actually experience that you have absolutely no way of interpreting in your reality at this point. The best that we can say is that they actually truly do experience these qualities and powers as if they are actually places, as if they actually are landscapes, as if they actually are worlds. But a world unlike anything that you have experienced in your reality at all. In your own journey, when you go into transcendence over and over and over again, in all the different directions of your life, in all the different kinds of challenges that you face, in all the different things and activities that you act on that are representative of your passion. And as you thus then allow yourself to transcend at the end of your physical life into spirit, you have a choice at that point to remain in an interdimensional state, if you wish, and to interact with the Council of Nine in a very different way. And so, many of you may choose to go along on some of their journeys at whatever level you are capable of attending and whatever level you are capable of accompanying them in your non-physical state. It will not be right away, of course, the same level on which they experience it, but nevertheless, you will have a little bit more freedom in spirit to experience the idea of the Council of Nine and their explorations in a very different way than you experience it in physical reality now. But make no mistake, You are connecting to them, and they are connecting to you, and they are there for you as guides for those times in your life when you are experiencing those powers and expressing them on your journey. This then is the idea of the mystery of Saturn, for in your investigations of your own challenges and in your explorations of your own passion, you will always find mystery. You will always find the unknown, and you will always find that it is an opportunity to tap into the mystery of the rings, the mystery of that vibration, and explore the great mystery of the creation, and add that exploration of mystery and the unknown to your excitement. For as we have said, the only thing you're ever going to find in the unknown is more of yourself. You are your own mysteries. And as you unravel the mystery of yourself and express more and more of yourself in that unraveling, then the entirety of your experience on earth shall contain and reflect more and more of the vibration, more purely of the Council of Nine, of the mystery of Saturn and its relationship to your world as this vibrational radiance that guides you into the mystery through the doorways of mystery. And your world will become a very magical place indeed. Very mysterious place, but a very magical one. Does that sound exciting? Yes. All right. Then be on about living your lives, telling your stories, living your stories, acting on your passions, and expressing your powers. And by the way, no, it is no accident, it is no mere coincidence that there are also connected to your reality the 9 levels of consciousness that we have discussed before. This is also connected to the idea of coming from the oversoul level down to the physical level. And it is also connected to the idea of the Council of Nine in a variety of ways. But that will be sufficient for now. Don't want to overwhelm you. In return